Hello again, guys, and welcome back to the House of Devlin. I'm Big Al Devlin, and today I'm going to be filming a number of videos which all sort of link into one another. They're going to be 3 videos. I'm going to be filming, first of all, which is what this video is about, I'm going to be filming to you regards the topic of oratory. That is, or oratation, the tradition of oratation, the tradition of teaching the belief system of paganism through the word of mouth. Paganists traditionally teach one another through word of mouth. If this was 1,000 years ago and we were living in our respective villages at the time, let's say they were pagan villages as they were, if you're of European descent, we would have had a handful of village elders who would have known all the stories. They would have committed to memory all the stories of not just the gods, the heavens, but also of the heroes, of the people who had made their village what it was. The people who had given their lives to defend and to progress their people. And they would have also, of course, remembered the additional stuff, not just the gods and the goddesses and how they should be worshipped and so on and so forth, but the spiritual aspects behind that also, the morals of the stories. And so there was a great burden upon them in many respects, a blessing, but a burden, because of course these village elders, it was their responsibility to find someone to pass all of their knowledge onto before they died, so that the knowledge was never lost. And the problem, of course, with such a tradition is that the knowledge over time can build up and up and up. If, the religious aspect and the spiritual aspect, for example, may remain relatively similar. It might grow a little bit, it might expand a little bit, but it's going to be mostly the same. But it was part of the village elders' responsibilities, at least in the clan that I came from, at least anyway. I don't know if it was the same in every clan, but I'm pretty sure it was. It was also the responsibility of the elders to remember the heroes of their own clan. The people who, their kings or their their best warriors, for example, so on and so forth, and to have their names remembered not only in the names of the generation of the current living, but in the generations to come, as an inspiration to those who come to better themselves, to become like those who were lauded as heroes, so that they themselves could be remembered. That was what it was like in my clan, at least anyway. People were remembered, and they were remembered for battlefield prowess more than anything in my clan. That's just my personal experience. Every clan would have had their focus. In my clan, we were a warrior clan, so people who killed lots of enemies and did it ferociously and all the rest of it were lauded as heroes, and would have been respected, admired, and remembered for such things. My surname literally translates as fierce and brave, and that was a name that was earned by our people. So the oratory tradition, of course, we've already picked up one of its issues. We're going to be talking about the spiritual aspect, because remembering heroes of old and that, I have no idea really. It's in the history books. That's where I would get my sort of my knowledge from, because of course my family became Christian, like a lot of families became Christian during the Middle Ages, and so with that, the oratory traditions of passing on heroes of Celtic warriors or Nordic warriors, so on and so forth, became lost to some degree. There may be book records somewhere recording what they did and so on and so forth, books that were written by their enemies more often than not, but nonetheless those records have been lost, and it's unfortunate that their names are no longer sung are no longer lauded and respected in the same way that they should be, and with the respect that they should have. I often want to discover my ancestors as much as possible. I have a family tree which is quite extensive. As I say, it goes back a long way, and so I am lucky for that, in the sense that I can find out who my ancestors are, and I try to find out the details that I can, but the details are minimal. You gotta remember, the book that I'm reading is a history book in many respects. It's the Annals of Irish History. It just simply is a statement. The Devlin clan, or the Drobenheim clan as it was then, lived here on the western shores of County Tyrone. This was their lordship. This is where they ruled, and they were of royal blood, and so they were allowed to fight, and they were warriors by trade. In times of peace, they acted as mercenaries and as assassins and as bodyguards and things like this. At times of war, they bore the banners of their lords. That they were bannermen to more powerful lords, and they were the standard bearers of the clan that they were sworn to, which was the O'Connors at the time. As you can see, I have taken it upon myself to remember as much as possible and to learn and discover as much as possible about my family history. However, there are huge gaps that might be filled, but gaps where, if I'm truly realistic, won't be filled. And that is one of the reasons why oratory traditions, as beautiful as they may be, teaching from one person to another the histories of your clan, the successes of your clan, the religion of your clan, the belief system of your clan, that is such a beautiful thing to do. But unfortunately, in the long term, has its negatives, because if the clan is decimated, or the people with the knowledge get killed or die, or simply of old age before they can find a worthy successor, then that's the end. All that knowledge is lost, and it's such a shame that that has happened to so many paganistic families out there. There are so many pagans or people of pagan descent out there who do not realise that they come from greatness, that they come from families and clans that had done great deeds in the past, and it's just a shame. It's not their fault that they can't celebrate their ancestors' successes, because they simply don't know about them. It's not their fault. It's just a shame. It's a reality. However, I do believe in the oratory traditions in many respects, and that's why I'm here on YouTube, because I'm passing on, continuing on the oratory tradition of trying to teach the next generation, so to speak, my own generation if possible as well, or even older generations who are rediscovering their faith, people who are like, you know what, the current faith systems that exist, they don't work for me. I'm going to go back to my roots. All of you are welcome here, and I will do my best to teach every single one of you what I am learning, what I am picking up, what I am gathering around me, and I will teach you as I am now through the form of oratation. I will talk to you. I will never preach to you. I will simply tell you things, and it's up to you whether you believe it or not. It's up to you how you interpret what you hear. I will give you the morals of the story, so to speak, but you may see a completely other moral of the story, and that's the beauty of oratation, is that there is a personal, one-to-one level and experience in it. Unfortunately, I mean, there is the comment section here on YouTube, so there is some kind of dialogue, but unfortunately there is a minimal dialogue between you and myself. However, I have discovered the beautiful aspect of oratation through teaching my girlfriend about paganism. She recently, as I say, learned that I was a pagan, literally. Was it yesterday or the day before? And she discovered it when I bought her a necklace. I noticed that she was wearing a Wiccan symbol, the pentagram or whatever. And I bought for her at a fair when I was just shopping. I noticed there was a place that was selling silver pendants and chains, and I bought her Yggdrasil, the Tree of Life. It just happened to be there, and I thought, what a beautiful symbol to give to such a beautiful woman. And I gave it to her, and she loved it. I mean, she's wearing it as we speak now. She hasn't taken it off since I've given it her, and I know her, she'll never take it off until the metal itself breaks. And it was from that our discussion of paganism became apparent. She wanted to know what is this, and I taught her it was Yggdrasil, or I simplified it. I called it the tree of the cosmos. It's the universe for all intents and purposes. It's what represents fate. It's the tree of life, and it will protect you. Okay, it will help protect you in times to come. And I said, and then of course, then it went on to talking about the origins of men and women, because of course that men and women come from from an ash tree and an elm tree, and because we were talking about trees, I just went into that, and so on and so forth. And we ended up having a 2 to 3 hour conversation all about paganism. My intentions were not to even talk to her about it. I just wanted to give her a gift. But because she showed an interest for the paganism, whether she intends to take it as a faith or whatever, I don't know, and I don't care in many respects. All I want her to know is to know what the symbols mean, what they mean to me. I think in most respects she was obviously asking, not only because it's incredibly interesting, the pagan faiths are interesting, they're entertaining, and she was mesmerised, especially when you got a good storyteller. Not that I'm blowing my own trumpet, but when you got a good storyteller, she was mesmerised by the stories that I was telling her, and she was like, well, what if this happened, or why did that happen? She would ask questions, and I would have to find an answer to those questions. And the questions she asked, I can't remember, but I do remember I had an answer for, but it made me question my own knowledge. I had to dig deep to to come up with the answers, and by doing so I broadened my own knowledge. And what happens is, through Oratation, for teaching the next generation or your fellow generations your beliefs, whatever they may be. The beautiful thing of it is that if there's an interaction between you, if there's a real genuine passion from the student and also from the teacher, there needs to be a passion on both sides, but the teacher should be passionate. If he's not a teacher. But if there's a passion from both sides, what happens is those those people, they interlink with one another, and as the knowledge of the student grows, it's like the roots of a tree. The roots of their knowledge grow deeper and deeper, and then start intertwining, as I say, with the roots of the teacher, and an unbreakable bond forms. You form a bond of kinship. Now, of course, I love my girlfriend. She's going to, hopefully be the mother of my children and everything along those lines. So my connection to her is as deep as it comes anyway. But I found a deeper way of taking our relationship, even deeper than what I thought, by simply sharing my faith with her, sharing my newfound belief system. Essentially, I would say newfound. I just newly awakened belief system, because I think I've always had it my whole life. It just took a long time for me to find it. That's what the next video is going to be. I've spoken enough on Oratation. Obviously, the issues with Oratation is it relies on people being around to teach. It relies on people being geographically closer together, as it was in the old days. People lived in the same communities with one another. They could share knowledge in between one another or between village to village. It was not too difficult to share knowledge within your local regions. Today, it's a little easier to actually to teach oratory, for the art of oratation, a much wider audience. Actually, I can talk to the entire world through this phone here, through YouTube. But the problem with it is, if I suddenly stop uploading, that relationship is stopped, and that is where I believe the religions that have holy texts, the Bible, the Quran, so on, the Torah, so on and so forth. This is where these religions have their advantage. Their books are copied so much that, you know, everyone and anyone could get access to them. They're never going to suddenly disappear. People will always be able to learn about these faiths, but people can disappear. People can just stop. People can get tired and say, I'll retire. I've not found a protege to pass on the baton to, so to speak. And it's a shame because, as I say, I feel this is what has led to paganists like myself becoming an endangered religion, an endangered belief system. As I say, to an extent, we are not as widely spread. We are not as concentrated. We are not as numerous as the other faiths that exist out there. So what we must do instead is drop all barriers that are between us. We must drop our labels. I'm a Nordic paganist, but I don't care. I'm a paganist, and so if I was to meet a Celtic paganist, I don't care that he's a Celtic paganist and I'm a Nordic paganist. We're both paganists. We're brothers. We're blood. We're family. If I was to meet a Wiccan, I don't care. Whatever form of paganism you have, you're family, and that's how we have to be. We have to be with one another. We have to have that sense of family, because if not, we will lose our traditions. Luckily, these videos will survive. So even if I was to stop broadcasting and teaching, as I am currently trying to do, the lessons that I've already put up will always be there. But there's so much more to say. There's so much more to talk about. There's so much more communicating and finding people, and linking those people together. It's a big job, creating this paganistic community that is my goal, my aim in life. Will I succeed? Yes, I will, because I will make myself succeed. The scale of that success, I'm not sure. I'll succeed certainly at the local level, that is within my own country. Will I succeed worldwide? No, I'm not sure. That depends on who else gets on board and how much they're willing to do. Luckily, I'm friends with an American who is a Celtic paganist called Celtic God, who's a YouTuber on here as well, a man of great wisdom. Please go visit his channel to learn about paganism in its entirety. He has some great teachings to give to you, and he will give you a different perspective than what I do on it all. He was and is my guide and teacher in many respects. I teach myself, and I find the knowledge for myself, not just in text, but simply because I experienced what's called the waking dream. I saw things when I died. I learnt things when I died, and I came back through sheer willpower or through divine intervention. And I came back wiser, and I want to share that wisdom with you, because I believe if people listen to the words that I'm saying, the world will eventually become a better place for our children and our children's children. It might take time, but it doesn't matter. Time goes on for a very long period, a very long time, right? Time is as compared to time, there's no comparison. It doesn't matter whether it's my children or my children's children or their children who benefit from it, as long as there is a success in the end, and there is a greater increase in the population of paganism, or certainly a greater understanding of paganism and the morals and the values that it teaches. And so what I will be doing now is I will be discussing some of the morals in the videos coming up. I'll be filming now. The morals and the ethics that paganism teaches, and how that relates to other modern religions that exist today. And I may do also a couple of other interesting topics also. I'm trying to keep things relevant to modern day, but paganism in the modern day society, looking at paganism through the eyes of someone who was born 1,000 years ago, but bringing it into modern day society, because they understood their religion. People 1,000 years ago, they understood their religion. Now, modern day paganists, we don't necessarily understand our religion 100% completely. There are big gaps, and it is our job to fill those gaps in, and we will. I'm not saying we're ignorant, we're far from it. We've done a great job so far at filling in those gaps, but it is our job to continue filling in those gaps and to continue teaching the people who will listen the morals and, I say, the values of the faith and the religion as a whole. I will move on. My memory's starting to play tricks on me, so I want to just check my notes now on the videos that are going to come up. But I hope you enjoyed the video about Oratation and how beautiful a thing it can be. The connection that student and teacher can form is profound. When you have a dialogue, when there are questions and there are answers and there is debate, it is a beautiful thing. And as I say, one of the best things about paganism, and I will repeat this in the video coming up, one of the best things about paganism is it's not fundamental. It is what you make of it. Question what you wish. Question what you wish. As long as you take away the general principles, that's all that matters. Thank you. Goodbye.